Hello again, my name is Jason, and I'm going to be talking about Catastrophe's Spell by Mayer Alan Brenner. One day I'm going to get this out. Catastrophe's Spell is the first book in a series called Dance of the Gods. I keep getting this mixed up with The River of the Dancing Gods, which is a completely separate book by series, completely separate, by a completely different author. So I keep getting them crossed in my head. Anyway, there's a lot going on in Catastrophe's Spell, and you will sometimes find this book printed under the name of Spell of Catastrophe. The thing is like I said, this is the first book in the series, and the other books in the series have a different title style. So Catastrophe's Spell is the first one. The next one is, well, I'm not sure if it's the next one, but two more in the series are Spell of Intrigue and Spell of Apocalypse. So there was kind of that change in the titling, and so anyway, so you'll sometimes see it printed under Catastrophe's Spell and sometimes Spell of Catastrophe. Anyway, this book is about several different people. There's several storylines that are interwoven. The characters working together and against each other and things. So it starts out with Maximilian the Vaguely Disreputable. An awesome name for this character. He is a research sorcerer slash thief slash odd job man, and he's trying to figure out what's going on in the world. The world is a bit odd. And he's trying to figure out what's behind it all. He's very much into that kind of thing. He's curious about what's going on. Well, he gets summoned to help his friend, the great Carlini, another wizard, sorcerer, magic user, who is trapped in a castle that keeps vanishing and then reappearing somewhere else. He ends up at a place called Rusing Ulvaya. Don't ask me. And he gets thrown in together with a lot of other characters. There's the Creeping Sword, who turns out to be a detective, pulp-style detective. He narrates in the kind of Dashiell Hammett, Sam Spade style. Thing is that he's an amnesiac, so he's not exactly sure who he is, and so it's rather interesting in the narrative when it's told from the perspective of the Creeping Sword, because it's written, the book is written when Max or someone else is is the center of the narration. It's written from the perspective of the third person perspective, and then when it switches to the Creeping Sword and his narration, it switches to first person narration. So that detective is somehow embroiled in it, and embroiled in the plot, and then it turns out that there are a bunch of gods, and the gods are always struggling, vying for power against one another, and there are actually several gods of the same type. So there are several, in this case, in Catastrophe's Spell, there are several death gods, and they're all trying to become the dominant death god, and so they're always battling for position against each other. And so Max gets thrown into this situation where his friend is trapped in this castle that keeps disappearing and reappearing. He ends up in Rusing Ulvaya because of the castles moving around. And you find out that there are, as you can see on the cover, giant birds, and so there's all these fantastic creatures and monsters and magic and stuff going on. But at the same time, you get a subtle feel that not everything is what you think it actually is, and that there's something more going on. in this world. I very much enjoyed Catastrophe's spell. It made me want to get into the rest of the series. The rest of the books are very much enjoyable as well. We can talk about them on another occasion. And like I said, one of the unique things about the book is, and the series itself, is the interwoven plot lines and the fact that the perspective, which doesn't usually shift in a book, the artist will usually pick one, and it looks like I've frozen on the video. I wonder why that is. Hopefully it's still recording. I don't want to have to do this again. Anyway, usually there's one view that takes precedence, and so it would be like a first-person perspective. Let's see if I do this. Nope. So there's like first-person perspective or third-person perspective, and there usually isn't an intermixture of the two. So this was interesting in the fact that it shifted viewpoints from one to the other and back again. And for the most part, it's fluidly done. It doesn't feel jarring when you're reading it to suddenly switch viewpoints. It's done in a smooth manner. So, like I said, there are instances when other people are the focus of the action, and when that is happening, it's a third-person perspective. And the creeping sword may be there, but he's not the focus. When he is the focus of the action, then it switches to his viewpoint, and it becomes a first-person narrative. The characters are interesting. I really liked the name Maximilian the Vaguely Disreputable. It was just such an awesome name. He's only vaguely disreputable. He's not completely disreputable. It's just an awesome name for a character. I did enjoy the magic in the world, and the magical system. They talked about how it worked. They talked about trying to come up with new spells to do this or that. And the characters were quite enjoyable. The plot, I'd have to say the plot could have used some work. Catastrophe spell seemed pretty tight, but the overall plot arc between the first book and the fourth book in the series was kind of a bit could have used some tightening, some focus there. But anyway, highly enjoyable read. Highly recommend it. But you can actually, if you're interested, get Catastrophe's spell for free as an ebook. Just do a search for it, and it'll pull it up. Anyway, as always, like and subscribe. Put on the notification bell so you get notified when I release new videos. And as always, enjoy what you're reading.